Hey, what's up guys? It's Claudio here, and today I wanted to talk to you about my bike fit experience. I went out and this summer got a time trial bike, Cervelo P3, off Craigslist, obviously used, and I needed to get that dialed in for the New York City Triathlon and for another time trial that I was gonna do. So if you know anything about time trial bikes, they are very specific to your body. They need to be molded, practically painted on you. You have to get those things dialed in some way or another. So I looked up bike fitting companies in my area, found ACME Bicycle Company in Brooklyn, went there, asked around. They said $400 for a bike fit. Okay, it's a lot of money for a bike fit. And they actually had this other option, $600. You can bring in a second bike and they'll do both of them. So I ended up going with that. I came in with my Cannondale Super Six Evo, the one that I use for crit racing. Might as well get that one done. And so I dropped $600 on this professional, very thorough, very highly technical, and it's a very informative experience. Guys, let me know what you think of this. Is it something worth doing? Would you guys spend $400 on a bike fit? Okay, I have I definitely have an opinion on whether or not it's worth the money, and I'll let you guys know towards the end of this video. So let's get to it. All right, so this whole thing started out with a physical examination. They put me on this sort of massage table, and this guy, Jonathan, who's the expert, he felt out all my mobility issues, really got a good idea of, where my tightness was. He saw that I have really tight hamstrings. He saw that I had a tight right hip, kind of a small imbalance. Then he had me do all these exercises to test my core, see how strong my core was. No big deal. I think it was like, 30-second planks, things like that, just to get an idea. And then he made me walk back and forth a few times to take a look at that. And we had a chat about bike positioning. What should you be feeling? How should you be bending down at the hip? The proper way to lean down on a bike. After that, he went into the anatomy of my hips and the sit bone and how that's supposed to sit on the saddle and how important it is and how very different a time trial bike is from a road bike and the position. And it was extremely informative. All right, so then he got my bike and started measuring around the previous fit, which was the fit that I got at the bike shop when I got it. And I was a beginner, so they gave me a very kind of relaxed fit. He measured everything, put it in the system in case we wanted to go backwards. This is my Cannondale Super Six Evo Disc Ultegra. Right now, everything is stock except the wheels, the power meter. I got that Korg power meter. It's got a 172.5 cranks. And the other thing that I got as an upgrade was a saddle, the Fabric Scoop, the flat one with the carbon rails. Other than that, I'm running this baby stock. A significant amount of upgrade so far. I plan on upgrading the handlebars and some other things. I'll show you a video on that later. So then he gets this tool, and this tool is hooked up to the computer system and the software. He's basically mapping out my bike in his computer. Right now he's calibrating the whole system, putting some points into the system, some key points in there. And soon you're going to see him start to draw my bike. There he is. Okay, now he's starting to draw my bottom bracket. Very interesting. Then he goes on to other parts of my bike. He's doing the handlebar. He said he's doing this very carefully. He's trying to be as accurate as possible. And it's all getting recorded into the system. Then he goes into my saddle, draws my saddle. You can see it being drawn into the computer in real time. pretty cool stuff. Then drawing the different parts of the frame, and then the hoods and the angles of my handlebars, and there are my grips. After that, he puts me on his rig with the same kind of handlebars, the same saddle, and he puts these sensors all over my body. And what you can't see is a camera. There's this special camera that is reading everything from these sensors. It's catching them, I don't know how, super high-tech stuff, and it's recording everything into the system. And he's trying different power levels. And then this is what it looked like on when he was putting them on for my time trial bike. I have to say, it felt extremely legitimate, very thorough. Again, we spun at different cadences. We did different powers, different durations. I broke a sweat in that. And you see in the computer, you'll see how it's catching all of my movements. Okay, every angle, it's recording that. It's recording the angle of my ankle, my knees, my shoulders, my elbows, my hips. It's all going into the system and collecting data for analysis. Then he took quite a bit of time to explain everything to me. So we're talking about all these different angles in my body and the differences between my left and right side. I remember he said something about my left ankle was a little more stiff than my right one. And he talked about what the differences would be in terms of that, how they translate into speed and comfort. I didn't have really too major of an imbalance, kind of normal, but definitely I have a dominant right side. So this was a very impressive, a lot of data, a lot of information to digest. I found it really interesting, the way he explained it, very professional and very technical. So as somebody that likes a lot of data and numbers, I was into it. Okay, so back on my road bike setup. So this is a cool part. So he is controlling this whole rig. It's all adjustable. Every single part of it is adjustable. And he's controlling it, and I'm pedaling. And this is how we start to get my fit on my road bike. As I'm pedaling in real time, he starts moving the seat height, millimeter by millimeter, up and down, until we find that sweet spot. And he's asking me, how does this feel? And how does that feel? And then he's moving the handlebars forwards, back, up, down. And he really goes to the extreme. So we find that point where it's just uncomfortable, or my hips start rocking back and forth, or there's too much pressure on my shoulders. And we find that, and we dial it right back to where I can handle it. And a lot of this has to do with mobility and my experience just riding bikes. I remember that there was another, he went a little bit more extreme, and he said that this is a very aggressive position. Check it out. And I just could not really, I couldn't see myself holding that realistically for 40-minute crit. It was just too extreme. It was like too slammed, and it was too aggressive. So I didn't go with that. Obviously, I'm a beginner. I can't just go with like the most professionally slammed bike fit, right? You would think that you would just slam everything, make it super aero, super aggressive, but no, you can't. If you're a beginner, you can't hold that, you can't sustain that, and probably you just can't ride your bike like that. I mean, it may not be safe, right? The handling on those extreme positions is totally different. So you have to find that sweet spot for your level of expertise and go with that. So I found that extremely helpful, that kind of guidance, like, we're gonna get you more aero, more race-like, but you have limitations right now, your experience and your hamstrings and so forth. Probably not a good idea to go extremely slammed. And then he took all the measurements off his rig and transferred it over to my Cannondale and my time trial bike. And he drew everything again into the system so we'd have it stored for next time. All right, so this is the before coming out of the bike shop that I bought the bike. And this is the after. This is the new bike fit. I can tell you it's a very big difference as far as how it felt. Okay, you can see that handlebars are down more. I'm leaned forward more, and the seat has been raised a little bit. So basically, I'm just more forwards, a little bit more aero position, more aggressive, and I can tell you that the first time I got on the bike on a race, I believe it was like that weekend, I could feel the speed. I'm not just saying that because I paid so much money for this, but it was incredible the difference that it made. I went and did a circuit race at Floyd Bennett Field, New York, and it was unbelievable. Like, we're talking, some serious speed gains. I could feel just myself cutting through the wind more. It was pretty incredible. I was very happy with that, especially on a bike that I ride so much. On my time trial bike, I had never really ridden it before. I've never raced it, so I didn't have a reference. But it was, that position is very intense, the time trial position. And after I did a race on it, honestly, I couldn't even sustain the aero position for more than 10 minutes. I did a 40K time trial. I might do a video on that. I took footage. And you have to have a very strong core for riding in that position. That's what I learned. I couldn't sustain more than 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes I was in pain, and a 40K for me is over an hour, and I was just hurting. So I just needed more time on the time trial bike to really be able to race in that position. All right, so my overall thoughts on having a professional $400 bike fit. For me, as an amateur, I probably could have gotten there maybe like almost 90% just by watching YouTube videos and trial and error. Tons of trial and error and figuring it out. But I wouldn't have that peace of mind, and I wouldn't have all that knowledge that they gave me. So for me, it was definitely worth dropping the $400 on this bike fit. Even though it wasn't the most aggressive, honestly, I probably would have gotten, if I'd done it myself, I would have slammed everything. I would have been super aero, and then I don't know if it would have been safe. So that kind of guidance was really important. I would say if you are a serious amateur, if you get a nice bike, if you race more than 5 times a season, get a bike fit. Some kind of bike fit. It's so important. Or at least do your research and really try to dial it in yourself. Watch a ton of videos. But this bike fit at ACME, totally worth it. Highly recommend it. And totally worth doing both of my bikes. So I'm very happy. And what's really cool is that I can go back within a year, and just for $100, they'll tweak my setup. Because, throughout the year, you grow into different levels of aggressive positioning. So now this particular bike fit might seem and feel pretty easy for me. So maybe I can go a step further into the aero position. It's pretty cool that they give you that option. Definitely going to come back. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. Would you drop $400 on a bike fit? Leave a comment down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more videos like this. Follow me on Instagram. I'm posting all of my winter training throughout this winter in New York. Can't ride outside at this time. I'm doing most of my training in Trainer Road. So feel free to follow me on Instagram, and I'll be posting more videos about my winter training. Talk to you soon. Peace.